What happens when love crosses the line of family loyalty? A seemingly innocent lunch meeting between a wife and her brother-in-law takes a devastating turn when he confesses his love for her. What follows is a whirlwind of emotional chaos, betrayal, and broken trust. Watch as this family grapples with what happens when family bonds are tested by unexpected feelings. Ben, a 32-year-old lawyer, reflects on the life he's built with his wife, Olivia, a 31-year-old graphic designer. Their marriage has always been the epitome of stability. They had been together for nearly 5 years, and their bond was built on a foundation of love, respect, and mutual admiration. Ben had always considered their relationship to be unbreakable, never truly questioning the loyalty between him and Olivia, nor the dynamics of her family. Olivia came from a close-knit family, and over the years, Ben had grown particularly fond of them. But there was one member of her family that always stuck out to him, the one that he could never fully understand: her brother Ryan. Ryan, 33, was everything Ben wasn't. Where Ben was introverted and reserved, Ryan was extroverted and magnetic. He was the type of man who could walk into a room and have everyone gravitating toward him in an instant. A successful businessman, Ryan had a presence that seemed to fill any space he entered. He was charming, confident, and never short of admiration from others, especially Olivia. The sibling dynamic between Olivia and Ryan always seemed playful, yet there was something in their exchanges that Ben had quietly observed over the years, something that felt more than just familial affection. They shared inside jokes, exchanged knowing glances, and often flirted in a way that made Ben uneasy, though he never allowed himself to dwell on these thoughts. In his mind, it was just the bond of siblings who had grown up together. He had no reason to question it until now. Ben's trust in Olivia had always been unwavering. He never once doubted her loyalty. But recently, a nagging feeling had started to take root in the back of his mind, though he pushed it away. It started with small things: Ryan's lingering looks, the way he would call Olivia late at night, or how he would sometimes hold onto her hand a bit too long. Ben never questioned these moments in the past, brushing them off as harmless gestures. After all, they were family, and it was easy to assume that there was nothing more to it. However, as Ben reflected on these interactions, he couldn't ignore the unsettling feeling that something deeper was at play. There was an intimacy between Olivia and Ryan that Ben now realized he had overlooked for far too long. It was as though there was an unspoken connection between them, something that went beyond what was normal for siblings. As the story unfolds, Ben's perspective shifts. His once rosy view of his relationship with Olivia, built on years of love and trust, begins to crumble. The foundation that he thought was unshakable is now fragile. The man who once had everything: his successful career, a wife he adored, and a family he considered his own, now finds himself questioning everything. Little does he know that the storm is about to hit, and the woman he thought he knew so well is about to be caught in a whirlwind of emotions, secrets, and betrayal that will forever change their lives. The sudden phone call from Ryan catches Olivia off guard. It's an ordinary Thursday afternoon when he reaches out, his voice unusually tense. "Olivia, I need to talk to you. Can we meet for lunch?" "It's really important," he says, his tone conveying a sense of urgency that Olivia can't quite place. She senses the gravity in his voice and agrees to meet. She assures Ben that she'll be home shortly, not thinking much of it. She's used to her brother's spontaneous requests and believes it's nothing more than a casual conversation. Ben, on the other hand, feels a sudden unease gnawing at him. He tries to shake it off, telling himself that it's nothing to worry about. Olivia and Ryan have always been close, and there's no reason to think that this meeting would be anything out of the ordinary. Still, the sinking feeling in his stomach lingers. As Olivia leaves the house, he can't help but wonder why Ryan's request feels so urgent, so out of character. What could be so important that Ryan couldn't just tell her over the phone? The thought rattles him, but he forces himself to focus on work, trying to push aside the growing discomfort. Meanwhile, Olivia heads to the restaurant where she's to meet Ryan. She feels a sense of calm, believing that this is just another one of Ryan's random heart-to-hearts. She's always been the one to listen, to offer support when Ryan needed it. But as she arrives, she notices a different energy in the air. Ryan's demeanor is not his usual charming self. There's something about him today that seems off. He's already seated at the table, his eyes downcast, as if he's waiting for a moment to make a confession he's been holding in for far too long. As Olivia sits down across from him, she senses the tension between them. Ryan starts the conversation with small talk, but there's a heaviness in his voice, a quiet intensity that Olivia can't ignore. Finally, after a few moments of silence, Ryan looks her straight in the eye and says, "Olivia, I've been carrying this around for a long time, and I can't keep it in anymore. I have feelings for you. I've loved you for as long as I can remember." The words hang in the air, thick with a mix of shock and disbelief. Olivia's stomach drops, and for a moment she feels like the world has shifted beneath her feet. Ryan's confession is like a punch to the gut, and the lunch that was supposed to be casual suddenly turns into a whirlwind of emotions. Olivia, stunned and speechless, barely knows how to respond. Her mind races as the reality of his words sinks in. How could this be happening? Ryan, her brother, her closest family member, had been harboring these feelings for years, and now he was confessing them. What does this mean for her marriage? For her family? The weight of the situation becomes suffocating as Olivia tries to process what Ryan has just said. The man she had always thought of as family is now a source of confusion, heartbreak, and betrayal. She feels her world unraveling in an instant. Overwhelmed by the magnitude of his confession, Olivia stands up abruptly, her chair scraping across the floor. She can't stay there any longer. She needs to leave. She doesn't know what to say, how to respond, or even how to look at him. All she knows is that she can't breathe, and she has to get out. As she walks away, Ryan calls out to her, but she doesn't look back. Her mind is spinning and her emotions are in turmoil. What now? How will she ever face Ben again? How will she face herself? The lunch meeting that started as a casual affair has now become the catalyst for a cascade of events that will change everything. Olivia's mind races as she walks away from Ryan, her heart pounding in her chest. She's in shock, unable to fully comprehend what has just happened. The lunch that was supposed to be an ordinary meeting between siblings has now turned into a life-altering confrontation. As she steps outside, the weight of Ryan's confession crashes down on her. She had always known that her brother was close to her, but this was something entirely different. How could Ryan have hidden these feelings from her for so long? The thought of it feels surreal, as though she's trapped in a nightmare from which she can't wake up. She reaches her car, feeling her hands tremble as she fumbles for her keys. Her mind races, but the only thing she can think of is Ben. How will she tell him? How could she explain what just happened? Her heart aches at the thought of confronting her husband, the man she had built her life with this unbearable truth. She knows that Ryan's confession doesn't just affect her, it affects Ben too. Their marriage, their future, everything they've worked for now hangs in the balance. She can feel the shame creeping up her spine, the fear of how this could destroy everything she holds dear. Sitting in her car, she stares blankly at the steering wheel, unsure of what to do next. Should she go home and tell Ben immediately? Should she give herself time to process it first? But how could she let him find out from anyone else? The fear of his reaction, of the hurt she's about to cause him, paralyzes her. She picks up her phone, her fingers trembling as she debates calling Ben. But before she can make the decision, her phone rings. Ben's name flashes across the screen. For a moment, Olivia freezes. She feels a lump rise in her throat, her hands tightening around the phone. She knows that answering it now means plunging headfirst into the truth. Her heart races, knowing that the conversation ahead will change everything. She takes a deep breath and answers. "Olivia, where are you?" Ben's voice is calm, but Olivia can sense the undercurrent of concern. He has no idea what's coming. I'm on my way home," she stammers, trying to steady her voice, though the tremor in it betrays her. She can't bring herself to say it outright, so she chooses her words carefully. "Ben, something happened. I need to talk to you." Ben's voice tightens. "What happened? Is everything okay?" She wants to tell him the truth, to confess right now, but she knows the words won't come. She isn't ready to break his heart just yet, and part of her wishes she could somehow rewind time, erase this moment, and pretend it never happened. But it's too late. Ryan's confession has already done its damage, and now she has to face the music. "I'll explain everything when I get home," she finally says, her voice breaking. The weight of the situation is crushing, but she knows she can't hide from it forever. She ends the call, her chest tight with fear. She has to go back and face Ben and the truth that will shatter the life they've built together. As she drives home, the minutes feel like hours. Her mind replays the scene with Ryan over and over. His words echo in her ears, each repetition making the reality of the situation even more undeniable. There's no going back now. Olivia arrives home, her hands still trembling from the conversation with Ben. She can feel the anxiety gnawing at her as she walks through the front door. Ben is in the living room, waiting for her. His concern is palpable, but there's an air of confusion in his expression. He doesn't know the storm that's about to hit, but she does. She's about to tear down everything they've built, and it feels like a weight too heavy to bear. "Olivia, what's going on?" Ben asks, his voice soft, but the tension in the room is undeniable. He's waiting for her to explain, and she knows that the next few minutes will change everything. She takes a deep breath and decides that there's no easy way to say it. She can't dance around the truth any longer. "Ben, Ryan, he confessed his feelings for me," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. Ben's face pales, his expression going from confusion to shock within a split second. What he breathes, the word barely leaving his lips. "Your brother. He what?" The words are out now, and there's no taking them back. Olivia watches Ben's face contort as he processes what she's just told him. He takes a step back, his hands coming up to rub his face in disbelief. "I don't know what to say," Olivia continues, her voice trembling as she tries to explain. "I didn't encourage it, I didn't lead him on. But he's been harboring these feelings for me for years, Ben. I didn't know." Ben stands there, his body rigid, as if he's struggling to comprehend the magnitude of the situation. His mind races through the countless memories of his interactions with Ryan, all the times he'd trusted him as part of the family. How could he have missed this? How could Olivia's brother harbor such deep feelings for his wife, and why hadn't she seen it sooner? "Are you saying that he's been in love with you all this time?" Ben's voice cracks, a mix of anger, disbelief, and hurt in his words. Olivia nods, her heart breaking at the pain she's causing. "I don't know what to do. I never asked for this, Ben. I never wanted this." The silence between them is suffocating. Ben stares at her, his eyes filled with a mixture of betrayal and sorrow. How could this happen? How did everything go so wrong so quickly? The woman he loved, the woman he trusted with his heart, now stood before him, tangled in the web of her brother's unrequited love. He feels a cold rush of anger at Ryan, at Olivia, and even at himself for not seeing the cracks in their seemingly perfect life sooner. As the emotions boil over, they both realize that the only way forward is through confrontation. They need to speak with Ryan. And so they prepare to face him together, knowing that this will forever change their family dynamic. There will be no easy way out of this storm. The evening feels like an eternity for Ben and Olivia. As they sit in the tense silence of their living room, the weight of their conversation continues to hang in the air. Olivia knows that she needs to get the truth from Ryan, to confront him and make sure he understands the severity of the situation. She picks up her phone and dials his number, but with each ring, her anxiety intensifies. Ben watches her, his face a mix of disbelief and anger, still processing the betrayal that's unfolded in front of him. Ryan picks up after a few rings, his voice calm, though Olivia can hear a subtle tension in it. "Olivia, hey, is everything okay?" he asks, clearly unaware of the storm that's brewing on the other end of the line. Olivia takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "No, Ryan, everything is not okay. We need to talk." The words feel heavy, each one a stark reminder of what has just been laid bare. "Ben and I know what you've said to me." For a moment, there's silence on the other end of the line, a hesitation that hangs in the air. Olivia's heart beats faster as she waits for Ryan to respond, unsure of what to expect. Finally, his voice breaks the silence. Olivia, I didn't mean for it to come out like that. I didn't want to hurt you or Ben. I never wanted it to be like this. The confession, the regret in his voice, only adds to the chaos swirling inside her. She looks at Ben, who's now standing, his posture tense with frustration. The situation is beyond their control now, and yet it feels like they are both trapped, stuck in a web spun by Ryan's words and actions. Ryan, you can't just confess something like that to me and expect it to go unnoticed, Olivia responds, her voice shaking with emotion. You've crossed a line. A huge line. This isn't just about me. It's about my marriage, my family. Ryan sighs, and for the first time, Olivia hears the full weight of his emotions. I never meant for this to happen. But I've loved you for so long, Olivia. I didn't know how else to tell you. I didn't want to hold it inside anymore. Olivia feels sick. His words are sincere, but they only make the situation worse. You shouldn't have said anything, Ryan. This is ruining everything. You're my brother, for God's sake. What do you think will happen now? The call ends with an uneasy silence. Olivia's hand shakes as she lowers the phone, and she can barely meet Ben's eyes. The raw, unspoken truth is there. Ryan's feelings for her are real, and he can't take them back. The betrayal is undeniable. And now the family they've built will have to face the consequences of Ryan's confession, the ripples of which will be felt long after the phone call ends. We're going to have to confront him in person, Ben says, his voice cold. Olivia nods silently, knowing that this confrontation is inevitable. They can't let Ryan's confession go unanswered, not after everything that's happened. They both agree to go to Ryan's house together, the sense of dread building with every passing moment. Olivia knows this confrontation will be the point of no return. There's no coming back from what's about to happen. But for her marriage to survive, for her own sanity, she has no choice but to face Ryan head-on. As they drive to Ryan's house, the tension in the air is suffocating. The once familiar route now feels foreign to Olivia, as if she's stepping into a new world where everything is different. Ben remains silent beside her, his clenched fists resting on his knees, his face a mask of anger and hurt. Olivia, meanwhile, can barely hold back the tears that are threatening to spill. She knows what's coming. The confrontation with Ryan will either mend the situation or tear apart what's left of their already fragile relationship. When they pull up to Ryan's house, Olivia's stomach churns. The large, modern home that once felt like a second family retreat now feels like a battleground. The front door is open, and as they step out of the car, they see Ryan standing there waiting for them. His posture is stiff, and his eyes avoid meeting theirs. He knows what's coming, and the guilt is written all over his face. Ryan, we need to talk, Ben says, his voice steady but laced with anger. Olivia follows Ben as they walk toward him, each step bringing them closer to the confrontation that will change everything. Ryan takes a deep breath, bracing himself for what he knows is coming. I'm sorry, he starts, his voice faltering. I never meant for any of this to happen. I couldn't keep it inside anymore. Olivia, you've always meant so much to me. Stop, Ryan. Olivia interrupts, her voice firm but filled with a mix of hurt and frustration. This isn't about your feelings anymore. You've crossed a line, you've shattered everything. You've hurt Ben, you've hurt me, and now you've jeopardized our entire family. Ryan takes a step back, his guilt now completely visible. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I never thought it would turn out like this. I thought maybe if I told you, you'd understand. Ben shakes his head, the betrayal cutting deeper than he ever imagined. You thought that if you confessed, everything would just magically be okay? That's not how it works. You've destroyed the trust between us, Ryan. This isn't just a misunderstanding. You've acted on your feelings, and now you have to face the consequences. The silence that follows is heavy, the weight of the truth settling around them. Olivia looks at her brother, seeing not just the man she once considered family, but the person who has now irreparably damaged her relationship with Ben. She doesn't know how they'll ever move past this, but she knows that the road ahead will be filled with pain and heartache. I never wanted this to tear us apart, Ryan whispers, the regret clear in his voice. But I've been carrying this for so long, and I didn't know how to let it go. Ben finally speaks, his voice cold and hard. Well, now it's too late. You should have thought about that before confessing, Ryan. We can't undo what you've done. With those words, Olivia realizes that there's no going back. The damage is done. Ryan's feelings, his confession, and his actions have changed everything. There's no easy solution, no way to simply erase the hurt. As she stands there, facing her brother and the man she once trusted completely, Olivia knows that her marriage, her family, and her future will never be the same again. The path forward is uncertain, but one thing is clear: they all have a long way to go before any healing can begin. The confrontation with Ryan leaves an aching silence in the air, thick with tension and unsaid words. After the dust settles, Olivia and Ben retreat to the car, their minds racing with what has just transpired. As they drive home, neither of them speaks. The gravity of Ryan's confession weighs heavily on them both, and it feels as if their entire world has been turned upside down. When they arrive home, Olivia knows she needs to speak to her sister, Sarah. Sarah is not just a sibling, but someone she has shared so many life events with: the highs, the lows, and all the in-betweens. She has always been her confidante, and in this moment Olivia feels the intense need for her support. She dials Sarah's number, and after a few rings, her voice comes through, light and full of the usual warmth. Olivia, hey, how's everything going? Sarah's cheery tone stands in stark contrast to Olivia's inner turmoil, and she takes a deep breath before answering. Sarah, I need to talk to you, Olivia says, her voice barely above a whisper. There's an underlying desperation in her words that instantly catches Sarah's attention. It's about Ryan, about what he said to me today. The silence on the other end of the phone feels deafening, and Olivia knows that Sarah is sensing the gravity of the situation. After a few moments, Sarah speaks, her voice quiet, almost apprehensive. What happened, Liv? What did he say? Olivia goes on to recount the events of the lunch meeting, the confession, the shock, the emotional toll it's taken on her. She tells Sarah about the confrontation with Ben, the devastation that's now hanging over their relationship. I don't know what to do. Ryan's been carrying this for years, and I feel like my marriage is hanging by a thread. Ben doesn't trust me anymore. How could he? Sarah listens carefully, her words never interrupting but filled with understanding. When Olivia finally finishes, Sarah speaks with quiet strength, offering comfort where it's most needed. Liv, I'm so sorry this is happening. I can't imagine what you're going through, but you're not alone in this. Ben loves you, and I know he's hurt right now, but he'll understand in time. He's angry, and that's okay. But you have to show him that you're committed to making it right. Olivia wipes away the tears that have started to fall as she listens to her sister's steady voice. It's a reminder that no matter how isolated she feels, she's not completely alone. Sarah continues, her words more forceful now. And Ryan? You need to have a serious talk with him, Liv. He crossed a line, and you can't let him think that what he did is excusable. I know, Olivia replies, her voice breaking as she speaks. But I don't know how to fix any of this. Everything feels broken. You'll fix it. You just need to take it one step at a time, Sarah reassures her. You have me. And you have Ben. You'll get through this. Olivia hangs up, feeling both comforted and overwhelmed. It's not an easy fix, but Sarah's words provide a sense of strength. She knows the road ahead will be difficult, but perhaps with time and support, they can rebuild the trust that's been shattered. The following day, Olivia, Ben, and Sarah gather in Olivia and Ben's living room. It's time for the final confrontation with Ryan. The air is thick with anxiety as they prepare for what could be the hardest conversation of their lives. Olivia can feel the tension building inside her heart racing in anticipation of the inevitable fallout. She knows that this isn't just a conversation, it's a test of her marriage, her loyalty, and her relationships. Ben is already sitting on the couch, his arms crossed over his chest, his jaw tight with frustration. Sarah stands beside him, offering him a silent but comforting presence. Olivia sits down beside her husband, taking his hand in hers. "Ben, we have to do this," she says softly, her voice trembling but resolute. She knows this moment is pivotal. Before they can say anything else, the doorbell rings. Ben stands up to answer it, and a moment later Ryan walks in, looking defeated. His posture is slumped, his face a picture of guilt and regret. Olivia can see it in his eyes, the recognition of how much damage he has caused. But the question remains, is this enough? Can this moment bring them any closer to healing? Ryan takes a seat across from Olivia and Ben, his gaze focused on the floor. The silence between them is suffocating, each of them waiting for someone else to speak first. Ben finally breaks the quiet, his voice heavy with emotion. "Ryan, we need to understand something. Why did you do this? Why did you confess your feelings to Olivia, knowing what it could do to this family?" Ryan swallows hard, his voice barely audible as he responds. "I don't know. I guess I thought if I just said it out loud, it would make the feelings go away. I never thought about how it would hurt anyone. I just couldn't keep it inside anymore. I thought maybe there was a chance for something between us." Ben's eyes flash with anger, but he doesn't interrupt. Olivia can feel the tension in her own chest, the words she needs to say rising in her throat. But she knows they all need closure, and it has to come from Ryan. "Ryan," she says softly, her voice shaking, "you're my brother. I never saw you that way. I never wanted this to happen. But you've crossed a line that can't be undone." Ryan nods, tears filling his eyes. "I'm sorry. I never wanted to destroy your marriage, Olivia. I never thought this through. I can't take back what I've done, but I want to make it right." Olivia looks at Ben, whose face is filled with pain and hurt. She knows that this is the moment of truth. Ben looks at Ryan one last time before saying, "You can't just apologize and expect everything to go back to normal, Ryan. You've hurt Olivia, you've hurt our marriage, and you've hurt this family. There's no easy fix for this." The words sting, but they're the truth. Olivia knows that things will never be the same. The trust they once had has been broken beyond repair. The guilt, the regret, the confusion, it all lingers in the room, heavy and suffocating. Ryan's actions have torn apart a bond that took years to build. And now they have to face the consequences together. Ryan stands, his voice cracking. "I'm sorry, Olivia. I wish I could undo all of this. I wish it never happened." Olivia nods, a tear slipping down her cheek. "I know you do, Ryan. But some things can't be undone." With those final words, the confrontation ends, but the family's journey toward healing is only beginning. Olivia knows that forgiveness is a long road, one that may never lead to the same place they once were. But for now, all they can do is move forward, piece by piece, with the hope that time will heal some of the wounds left in the wake of Ryan's confession. The days that follow the confrontation with Ryan are some of the hardest Olivia and Ben have ever faced in their marriage. The tension between them is palpable. Every time Olivia looks at Ben, she sees the hurt in his eyes, and it weighs heavily on her heart. She knows that what Ryan did can't simply be brushed away. The trust that Ben once had in her has been shattered, and rebuilding it feels like an insurmountable task. Yet, she refuses to give up on her marriage, even though every step forward feels like a struggle. Ben, for his part, is struggling to process everything. The betrayal by his brother-in-law cuts deep, but it's the betrayal he feels from Olivia that hurts the most. His mind races with questions. How could she have let this happen? Did she ever suspect Ryan's feelings? Why didn't she tell him sooner? Each question seems to drive a wedge further between them. There are moments when he feels like it would be easier to walk away than face the emotional turmoil that's engulfed their lives. For Olivia, it's even more complicated. She never asked for any of this. She never wanted to hurt Ben, and she certainly never wanted to jeopardize their marriage by becoming the object of Ryan's misguided affections. But the reality of the situation is clear. Ryan crossed a line, and she's the one who's been caught in the middle. Her guilt weighs heavily on her, and even though she knows she didn't encourage Ryan's feelings, it feels like everything is her fault. She questions her own decisions, wondering if she could have done something differently to prevent it. Their conversations, or lack thereof, are filled with discomfort. When they do speak, it's mostly about practical matters, appointments, work, and daily routines, anything to avoid addressing the raw emotion lingering between them. At night, when they lie in bed together, it's as if an invisible barrier stands between them. There are no tender touches, no whispered words of love, just the painful silence of two people who are trying, but failing, to find their way back to each other. One evening, as they sit across from each other at the dinner table, Ben finally breaks the silence. "Olivia," he starts, his voice low and strained, "I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if I can forgive you, or him." Olivia's heart aches at the sound of those words. She wants to respond, to tell him that she's sorry, that she's willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild their relationship. But the truth is, she's not sure if that's even possible anymore. "I know, Ben," she replies softly. "I don't know if I can fix this either. But I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose us." The silence that follows is heavier than any words they could exchange. Ben looks away, his eyes filled with conflict. Olivia watches him, silently pleading for him to see that she's trying, that she still loves him. But there's so much pain and uncertainty now. She wonders if they can ever get past this, or if the damage is too great. In the days that follow, Olivia seeks counseling, both individually and as a couple. She knows that they need help navigating this emotional minefield, but Ben is reluctant. He's not sure he's ready to face the depth of his own feelings, let alone share them with a stranger. Still, Olivia persists, hoping that therapy can be the lifeline their marriage so desperately needs. But even with counseling, things aren't easy. The process is slow, painful, and fraught with moments of doubt and frustration. There are times when Olivia feels like they're making progress, only to be hit with another wave of anger or sadness from Ben. They're not out of the woods yet, and Olivia realizes that rebuilding trust won't happen overnight. It will take time, patience, and a willingness to work through the pain together. At times, she wonders if their marriage can survive the weight of what's happened. But in those quiet moments, when she and Ben sit together, looking at the future, she knows that if they can make it through this, they can make it through anything. As weeks pass, Olivia and Ben begin to carve out a path forward, though it's far from easy. They've had their share of tense moments, their fights, and their tears, but they are starting to understand something crucial: healing is not linear. It doesn't come with a clear-cut timeline, nor does it come without setbacks, but slowly, bit by bit, they start to rebuild. For Ben, forgiveness doesn't come quickly, but it starts to bloom in small, unexpected ways. He begins to see that Olivia never asked for what happened with Ryan, that she never sought to hurt him. He also starts to understand the complexity of the emotions Olivia is grappling with: the guilt she carries, the confusion, and the loss of her own sense of safety in her marriage. The walls he'd built around his heart begin to crack as he realizes that Olivia is as much a victim of this situation as he is. For Olivia, it's about proving herself, proving to Ben that she is committed to him, to their family, and to rebuilding the trust they once had. She does this not with grand gestures, but with small acts of kindness, patience, and understanding. She listens to Ben when he needs to vent, even when the words are harsh. She takes responsibility for her part in the situation, while also reminding him that Ryan was the one who made the first move. Olivia knows that she can't undo the damage, but she is willing to do whatever it takes to show Ben that their marriage is worth saving. They start to have more honest conversations, ones that don't revolve around anger or blame, but instead around their shared future. It's not easy, and there are still moments of doubt, but the tension in the house begins to lift ever so slightly. They attend therapy together, learning new ways to communicate, to connect, and to heal. As the months pass, they rediscover parts of their relationship that had long been forgotten: the shared humor, the quiet moments of understanding, the love that had once brought them together. They begin to take small steps forward, cautiously optimistic about the future. But the journey isn't without its challenges. Olivia and Ben know that they will never forget what happened. They will always carry the scars from that painful time. but they also know that they are stronger for having faced it together, for having fought for their marriage despite the obstacles. As they sit together one evening, watching the sun set over the horizon, Olivia turns to Ben and smiles. It's not a perfect smile, but it's a smile of hope. "Do you think we'll make it through this?" she asks softly. Ben looks at her, his gaze filled with a mixture of love and uncertainty. "I don't know, Liv, but I'm willing to try, if you are." And with that, they take another step forward together, ready to face whatever comes next, knowing that healing takes time, but that their love is still worth fighting for. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more compelling content. Your support means the world to me.